Have you ever written something knowing no one might ever read it? The notebook lies open on the table and the pen still holds ink. The light is soft, as if aware it no longer needs to illuminate the world, only what's within. Outside, time continues, traffic, clocks, urgency. But in here, everything has slowed. Each word you write now is a quiet farewell. Not to life itself, but to what no longer needs to be said out loud. You didn't start this journal out of vanity, or a need to be remembered. You began because the soul needed to hear itself, and in hearing, understand. The page is the last mirror, and each line is a thread anchoring what's left of clarity, memory, presence. The shadow didn't arrive all at once. It came gradually, first as tiredness, then as slowness, finally as constant company, not threatening, but inevitable. You don't fear it anymore. You simply observe and write. You write because something still needs to be translated before the silence is complete. Something that only exists while it's being told in truth. The image is this: a sheet of paper with uneven letters, trembling lines, but full of truth. You no longer seek beauty, nor clarity, only honesty. And this late, quiet honesty becomes your final gesture of love toward yourself. Have you ever written as if saying goodbye? If something in this silence resembles your own, write in the comments. I write in the dark too. Someone may be reading, even without words. Some words don't need to be found. They just need to be released. You're not writing for someone, you're writing because something still needs to come out. An old knot. A memory that never formed into a sentence. A feeling that was never whole. And now, as everything begins to lose shape, these words find a body. Too late for the world, but still in time for you. You remember faces, scenes, silences, but you're not writing them as facts. You're touching them with the edge of your soul, like running your fingers across an old wall, feeling the cracks with tenderness. There is no judgment anymore, no rush, only the presence of someone who accepts the end and still wishes to be whole. The entries have no logic. One moment you write about a childhood afternoon, the next about the taste of loneliness on a Sunday, then a missing embrace, and finally, a strange thank you. To no one in particular, but to time. Time that hurt, but brought you here. You realize this journal is not a legacy. It's an intimate mirror, a silent prayer, a ritual of letting go. When you're gone, it will remain. But not to be read, to disappear with dignity. Like leaves falling in autumn, quiet but necessary. If that urge to write at the end pulses in you too, write in the comments. There are things I need to release. It might be the beginning of your own journal. Every journal deep down writes to someone, even if that someone never exists. Sometimes you imagine, what if someone finds these pages? A stranger, a child that never came, a love that never returned. Maybe someone who feels just as alone as you once did, and who upon reading might realize that solitude isn't theirs alone. But deep down you know, no one will read it. And still, you write. There is something sacred in that. Writing as if speaking into the dark, leaving footprints in the sand, knowing the tide will come. Not to preserve, but to trust. To trust that what was lived, even unseen, had value. That what was felt, even without echo, was real. The journal becomes a temple, and you, its last priest. No need for altar or confession, only the courage to narrate what the world never asked, but still burned inside you as truth. The pages are silent witnesses, and perhaps the only presence that stayed until the end. You close the notebook for a moment. Breathe. The shadow approaches, yes, but now it doesn't silence you. It listens, because right now, you are whole. For the last time, whole. If you also write with no witness, write in the comments. Someone will feel it. Sometimes what heals isn't being read, but no longer hiding. You no longer fear disappearing from the world. What aches is disappearing from yourself. There are days when you read your own words and don't recognize who you were. The handwriting is yours, but the voice has no name, as if part of you left before the body did, leaving behind only fragments, lines, lapses of memory. Writing has become a way to find yourself again, and even for a few seconds, you write to remember that you existed, not in dates or accomplishments, but in feelings too intimate for photographs. The smell of a shirt no longer worn, the sound of a voice calling your name, the way sunlight fell on the wall at 4 p.m. None of this matters to the world, but to you, it's everything. The image is this: someone fading slowly in a fogged mirror. But before the reflection disappears completely, a word is written with a trembling finger. It's not a plea, nor a protest, just a mark, a quiet declaration. I was. And in writing that, you're not seeking immortality. You're seeking intimacy, hoping not to forget yourself in the final moment, like lighting a candle in an empty room, not to guide someone, but to not leave in the dark. If that flame still flickers in you, write, I still remember I was. It might be your last sentence before silence, or the first of a new beginning. Maybe the end doesn't ask for answers, only for listening. Today your hand trembled more than yesterday. The words came slowly, but they came. You knew the end was near, not in time, but in pages. And even without rush, the notebook is almost full. With each line, you say goodbye a little more. Not with sorrow, but with surrender. Like someone returning to the earth what the soul no longer needs to carry. You write slowly. The final line doesn't need to be profound. It doesn't need to conclude. It only needs to be honest. And what comes out isn't a resolution, nor a lesson. Just a quiet whisper. I am at peace. You close the journal. The sound of the paper meeting silence is more beautiful than any music. There is no audience, no witness, but there is presence. You are here, whole. For the last time, whole. The shadow is no longer a threat. It is invitation. You rise, light, for the first time in years without debts to the unsaid. Everything that mattered was written. And even if no one reads it, you did. Even if no one keeps it, you left it. Even if no one knows, you know. If this last page touched your deepest quiet, write in the comments, I wrote what needed to be written. Then, share this with someone who carries unsaid words. And if something in you still wants to be heard, subscribe. Sometimes the soul just needs to be written to exist.